What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video. And in this one, there was a really interesting report here from Tom E. Curran that I wanted to touch on with you guys because it revolves around last year's offense. It revolves around Bill Belichick not being happy with Mac Jones and other players. And you look into some of the incidences that happened last year, like Kendrick Bourne not playing as much, or, Brian Hoyer being released, which was a surprise to a good amount of people. You look at some of these moves by Belichick, and this report by Tommy Curran potentially answers a lot of our questions. And I think a lot of people are going to start questioning Bill Belichick now that this has come out. But before we hop into today's video, please make sure you guys look into becoming a Patreon member if this does interest you. Get exclusive content from me, get access to a Discord chat with me and other Patriots fans who are Patreon members. We basically just talk Patriots every single day, breaking news, some inside information, league-wide news, our opinions. This is where you get the best contact to me if you have any questions or anything like that, along with, questions to other Patriots fans. And of course, you get to come on here and be a part of my live streams and our watch party for the day one of the draft. So if that suits your fancy, link in the description box below. Only $10 a month, guys, so check it out. So this is something I really just wanted to hop on today and just talk about because I have a lot of feelings and I have a lot of thoughts towards this, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts too. Now, before I even get into this, I've always been somebody that's backed up Bill Belichick. Everybody's saying, Tom Brady is the reason that we won all these Super Bowls and have won all these Super Bowls and had a dynasty the last couple of decades. While you're not wrong, I'm a person who believes that football is a team sport. You look at Super Bowl 53. If the Patriots don't play stellar defense, our offense was not putting up points on the board, we potentially lose that game. Overall, it's a team game from offense to defense to special teams. And I think winning and being as successful as we did comes around to the entire team and not just one specific player. But it's also no secret that the Patriots have a losing record since Tom Brady has left. So I just want to put that out there. I always thought, I've always loved Tom Brady. I've always appreciated what he did, but I've also stood behind Bill Belichick. But he's making it harder and harder to stand behind him, especially after news came out here again by Tommy Curran. He says, Patriots head coach Bill Belichick is, and I quote, still pissed about the way Mac Jones and others spoke out against Belichick's experiment last year with Matt Patricia as the offensive coordinator and play caller and Joe Judge as the quarterback's coach. Curran also notes that veteran quarterback Brian Hoyer, and he doesn't say was, but he says could have been released due to him speaking out and questioning things about how the Patriots offense was run last season. You heard that right. Brian Hoyer, the veteran quarterback, was even speaking out about what was going on behind the scenes and how this offense was run last year. This is what Curran had to say about the whole Brian Hoyer situation. He said, Brian Hoyer was not sold on what was going on last year, and I think he let that be known. He let it be known that Mac Jones was up against it on a weekly basis, and I think that that's a large portion on why Hoyer is not here. The Patriots would tell you otherwise, but they are paying him $1.4 million to not be here and not be a part of the system. Even through training camp, release him in August. You could use him for the offseason, but the Patriots said, nope, no thanks, we're all set. And Tommy Curran says it's interesting, and it is very interesting because it doesn't matter when you release him. That $1.4 million he was going to make no matter when you let him go. So why did you not release him when you had roster cutdowns? And there's a new NFL rule now that roster cutdowns are not into certain margins. You don't have to release a certain amount of players within a certain period of time. With a new rule, by a certain date, you just have to cut down from 90 to 53. So you could have kept Brian Hoyer this entire time. And while the Patriots have a new offensive coordinator, we still don't have a quarterbacks coach. Brian Hoyer, I think, really could have helped implement this new system, still helped out Mac Jones from a veteran quarterback standpoint. And a lot of people saying, well, they should bring in Brian Hoyer. They should bring him in as a quarterbacks coach once he retires. If this is the case, if Hoyer does decide that he wants to become a quarterbacks coach, I doubt it's going to be while Bill Belichick is here within the system. Again, if this report is correct. It makes a lot of sense that Brian Hoyer would have issues and Belichick would release him. And I have other reasons to back that up. But before I get into those, I do want to hit on the difference from the Patriots offense from Mac Jones' rookie year in 2021 to how our offense was performed this past year in 2022. Just to back up the fact that Bill Belichick messed up significantly with trying this, making a former head coach and special teams coach into a quarterbacks coach who never worked with the offense, and then making a defensive coordinator your offensive coordinator. And even last offseason, Belichick said, yeah, you know what? Well, if this goes wrong, you can blame me. Well, we're blaming you, Bill. We are blaming you. And it seems like although we're blaming you, when you said blame me if it doesn't go right, you're not okay with it. You're not happy about it. Your players are saying that they're not okay with it or happy about it. And instead of looking at yourself and saying, yep, you know what? I messed up last year. I've heard nothing about him vocally coming out and saying, you know what? It was a mistake. It was an experiment. It didn't work out. We're in a different year. We're in a different portion. No, you're mad at the people speaking out against you, although you said blame me if it does not work out. Patriots offense, 21-22. Red zone in 2021, the Patriots had 39 touchdowns on 63 trips. This past year, we had 19 touchdowns on 45 trips. Third down efficiency in 2021, 43.5%. This past year, 34.8%. First downs, 2021, 362. This past year, 288. Now, touchdowns in 2021. We had a total of 48. We had 24 rushing and 24 pass. This past year, we had 31 total touchdowns, 12 rushing touchdowns, and 19 passing touchdowns. Note this next statistic: sacks taken. 28 sacks for 241 yards to this past year, 41 sacks for 279 yards. Mac Jones was sacked almost double what he was his rookie year. I don't have the exact statistics pulled up in front of me, but look up Mac Jones statistics in a clean pocket versus under pressure. And there's a lot of reasons other than him being constantly under pressure or constantly taking sacks that went to Mac Jones not performing well this past year. But this is a big one. So for those of you who are saying Mac Jones isn't the future, he's not the answer, and I'm not saying he is. I'm going to, give him another year and let's see. But if you're confidently saying find another guy, he's not it, look into the circumstances, look into the situation and why he was not succeeding. There's a couple of other little tidbits that I looked back on here and I found very interesting. Now, Jacoby Myers spoke out against the Patriots offense. He said he didn't understand what was going on. He really just wasn't standing behind it. Jacoby Myers is not here today. The Patriots never really showed a genuine interest on bringing him back. Jacoby said that himself when they went and signed Juju Smith-Schuster to a very similar contract. Jacoby Myers responded and said how this is a cold world. And that's a quote, cold world. Because the Patriots never really showed interest in bringing him back, especially after offering another player a very similar contract. Just like Brian Hoyer, though, he's not here. He spoke out against the Patriots offense. Jacoby Myers also spoke out against the Patriots offense. He's not here. Very interesting. Now, Kendrick Bourne multiple times spoke out about this Patriots offense. what they were doing, what they were trying, how it wasn't working. And although he's still at least currently here right now, he was in the doghouse all last year, did not play. Even when he performed exceptionally against the Bengals, and is the reason we came back into that game and should have won. Without a Ramondre fumble, we win the game against the Bengals on Christmas Eve. Despite every time he had the ball in his hands, he made plays. Be one of the most dynamic offensive pieces we have. And we all said, well, that's a Patricia thing. And maybe it was. But what did Belichick do to get him implemented? Nothing. Well, Kendrick Bourne also spoke out against this offense multiple times. Maybe that has something to do with it too. Mac Jones speaks out against the Patriots offense. How many times? It was reported that Mac Jones actually went outside the organization during the season to try to find help for the Patriots offense. He wasn't sold on he wasn't sold on Patricia, as nobody was. But actually, Mac Jones' issue was not really that much with Patricia. He didn't like what he was doing, obviously, but he didn't blame the guy. He was thrusted into a position he should never have been in. But his issue was with Joe Judge. Mac Jones was always clamoring heads, having yelling matches with Joe Judge during practice and behind the scenes, as it was reported. Joe Judge is still here. Matt Patricia supposedly could still be here, but it's up to him. And after the position he was put in, I doubt he'll want to be back here. But again, Mac Jones midseason, he's going out, he's trying to find help, anything to make himself and this Patriots offense look better, because nobody else, no other coach is taking the initiative to go and do that. And Belichick doesn't like that. Belichick doesn't like it one bit that he's going behind his back to try to find help, because Belichick says, well, you know what? Let's do what I say. I'm the mastermind here. Do what I say. Although it's clearly not working out in every single offensive statistical category, just do what I say. Now, although Mac Jones is here, in league meetings this past week, obviously Belichick was asked about Zappe, Mac Jones, the quarterback competition. And Belichick, instead of saying, Mac's our quarterback, he doesn't say that. Belichick does not solidify Mac Jones as their starting quarterback moving forward, and says that everybody will have an opportunity. I just think it's very interesting that everybody who has spoken out about this offense vocally, that's at least been reported, is either not here or has their job on the line. And for what reason? I've always stood behind Belichick, but it seems like this ego could start to be an issue. Even with signings he's made in the past, contracts he's let up, players he's let walk, guys he signed to contracts that weren't worth it and did not pan out. Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar. But you still play Nelson Aguilar more than you were playing Kendrick Bourne. I wonder if this is going to keep being an issue, and if it does, it's only a matter of time before Kraft decides to put his foot down. Kraft's putting his foot down more and more each year. We've seen that in league meetings last year and this year. Belichick's got to start making the difference, or his job is going to be on the line. But what are your guys' thoughts on this whole situation? I found it very, very interesting, and makes a lot of sense when you look at, the not re-signing Jacoby really having much of an interest, Kendrick Bourne being in the doghouse, issues with Mac Jones here, Brian Hoyer randomly being released. It all ties back in together. But what are your guys' thoughts here? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video, guys, because it really helps me and the channel out. And of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your Patriots news. But never forget, guys,